Skoda often swoops in and obliterates its Volkswagen Group stablemates VW, Seat and Audi on space and practicality, and the Skoda Octavia is one of the best examples of that. It's a family car that's bigger than a Volkswagen Golf, Seat Leon, Mercedes A-Class, Audi A3 or BMW 1 Series, but costs less to buy. This Skoda Octavia might be all new, but it's still very clearly an Octavia. Up front, you get the same distinctive grille, though it's bluffer than before and the horrible twin headlights of the old car have been scrapped for a pair of slimline LEDs. The crease that runs down the side of the car makes it look more imposing, like shoulder pads in a 1980s suit jacket, and you can have wheels up to 19 inches in size, even on non-VRS models. The new look is finished off with crystal-style rear LEDs. Skoda has made a big effort to make the new Octavia feel more upmarket than the last car, with soft-touch plastics, textile padded trim finishes and thickly stuffed seats that could rival your armchair at home for comfort. Even so, it's still blander inside than a Focus or Leon. That said, there's an exception. The interior is dominated by a large central infotainment touchscreen, even on entry-level models, while the majority of physical buttons are found right in the center of the dash. It looks modern and is easy to use, with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. Lovely digital driver's dials come included too. Skoda used to be about big space and small prices, but not so much looks. Not anymore. This Octavia looks fantastic inside and out. If it's space you're after, look no further than the Octavia. There's a huge amount of it for adults no matter if they're sat in the front or back, while the Skoda's huge boot puts other family car efforts to shame. The Estate, reviewed separately, is even bigger. There's a generous range of efficient engines to choose between in petrol, diesel and plug-in hybrid flavors. The usual rule applies: if you're often in town, the 1.5 petrol is best. Often on the motorway? Go for the 150 horsepower 2.0-liter diesel. The Octavia is easy to maneuver and park in town, although its suspension can be a bit noisy and abrupt over bumps. A VW Golf is better here. The Octavia isn't going to set your pulse racing in twisty country roads, either. A Ford Focus is more fun, but it has plenty of grip and precise steering nonetheless. On the motorway, it proves a comfortable cruiser. The majority of Skoda Octavias come in a choice of just 2 trim levels, if we set aside the sporty VRS that is its own model with different engine options. You can pick between SE and SEL, but the only engine the 2 trims share is the 1.5 TSI 150, and there's a 2,700 pounds jump from the lower to higher versions. As a result of this, the SEL can look quite pricey next to the SE models. However, compare the Skoda to any of its equivalents from the likes of Ford, Vauxhall, Volkswagen or even Audi and BMW, and the Octavia comes in with keen pricing. It's almost all good news with the Skoda Octavia and how it drives: comfy, quiet, capable. Only thing is it doesn't put a smile on your face in the Benz. Skoda has long since worked out what its drivers want from their cars and the Octavia delivers that with pinpoint accuracy. The result is a large car that doesn't feel that big from behind the steering wheel, which is helped by the tight turning circle of the Octavia to make it very wieldy in tight city streets. This nimbleness also shows in how easy it is to park the Octavia, and even the Estate model that appears huge is a doddle to back into tight bays. All-round vision is good in every Octavia, whether you choose the hatch or Estate, and you get rear parking sensors with all versions. The engines pull well at low speeds and the automatic gearbox is generally very smooth, though it can feel just a bit jerky when pulling out of junctions. Inside, the Octavia has well-shaped front seats and the driver is treated to height and lumbar adjustment. Along with the plenty of fore and aft movement, as well as the two-way adjustment for the steering wheel, the Octavia driver is looked after really rather well. Secure, stable handling is a trait across all Octavia versions on the motorway, and the ride is almost ideally compliant. The hatch and Estate are both very calm and keep wind, road, and engine noise at bay superbly. All of the engines in the Octavia pull well up to the motorway limit. Company drivers will prefer the diesel or petrol hybrid motor, especially the plug-in petrol-electric option for its performance and low emissions. If you're after a Skoda Octavia to plant a smile on your chops through the twisty bits, you're going to have to spend the extra on a VRS model. Steering feel in the SE and SEL is perfectly adequate, as is the way they go round bends with confidence and ease. There are also strong brakes in all models, and you arrive at your destination without any stress, which is a good thing. It's fair to say that if you can't get comfortable in the Skoda Octavia, you probably are not going to find any car suitable. There is such a large range of adjustment in the driver's seat of the Skoda that it suits people with limbs of any length. Every model comes with a height-adjustable driver's seat, too, and the steering wheel moves in and out as well as up and down. The SEL trim comes with heated front seats and suede upholstery for some added luxury, but every Octavia's front chairs have manual lumbar adjustment and are shaped to give brilliant support. Vision for the driver is another big tick for the Octavia, as there are good lines of sight in all directions. This is especially so in the estate, thanks to its more upright rear pillars, which are not as thick as some others in this sector. What's not in doubt is the amount of storage Skoda clusters around the driver and front cabin. There are big door bins, a tray in front of the gear lever, but a wireless charging pad for your phone is an option on all models. A reasonably sized glove box is useful, and there's a tray with sliding lid in the center console that opens to reveal cup holders. Behind that is a cubby with padded lid that doubles as an armrest for the driver, so it's all very well thought out and executed inside the Skoda Octavia. It won't come as a great surprise to learn the Skoda Octavia is one of the roomiest and accommodating cars in its class for anyone sitting in the back seats. There's loads of headroom, even when you opt for the panoramic glass sunroof. You also get plenty of knee and foot space, and you can fit 3 people across the bench courtesy of good shoulder room. There is a transmission tunnel to divide the feet of anyone sitting in the middle seat, but it's still comfy. Good rear door bins and seat pockets take care of storage, and there are even a couple of USB chargers to satisfy the kids' need for devices. Impressive is the word for the Skoda Octavia's boot, whether you choose the hatch or estate. The hatchback boasts a huge 600 liters with the rear seats in place, dwarfing the likes of the Ford Focus, 375 liters, Volkswagen Golf, 381 liters, and Honda Civic, 404 liters. The big touchscreen looks good and comes with even the entry models, but it's a shame the ventilation controls are wrapped up in its menus. What infotainment system you get with the Skoda Octavia as standard depends on which trim you go for. The SE models have a 10-inch infotainment touchscreen that Skoda calls the Bolero setup. It comes with all the features you need, such as a wireless connection for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and there's voice control too. Like most Volkswagen Group cars now, the Skoda's infotainment replaces almost all of the buttons from the center console. There are still a few physical buttons for things like the hazard lights, central locking, and heated screen, but that's it. It's also not great when you have to make several inputs just to change the air conditioning's fan speed, though you do get on-screen sliders to alter the cabin temperature. Even then, they can be tricky to use while driving, so this is an area where Skoda needs to do some more work. With the virtual cockpit, you can configure the screen to show the main dials in different sizes and configurations, and you can maximize the sat-nav display. A head-up display that projects onto the windscreen in the driver's line of sight is an option for the SEL and VRS. What's good? Unrivaled space inside, cabin feels well screwed together, efficient engines and keenly priced. What's not so good? Pretty bland to look at inside, alternatives are more fun to drive, VW Golf is comfier and quieter. Every Skoda Octavia comes with 6 airbags to protect its occupants, and there are 2 ISOFIX mounts in the outer rear seats for child seat mounts. All models have automatic emergency braking included, along with lane departure alert and assistance, and an e-call system to contact rescue services in the event of a collision. Cruise control with speed limiter is standard, too, but adaptive cruise is an option for the SE yet included with the others. Only the VRS has a reversing camera, and this cannot even be added to the SE or SEL. Blind spot detection is another option, and only for the upper 2 trim levels.